Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a coffee, Patreon, crypto and thanks button in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and X. Now we are joined by, click OK, Jin, Arthur, Neil, and a whole bunch of people in the Flat Earth Debate Discord server. So, welcome one and all.
How are you?
How you doing?
I'm all right.
Hello.
Little bit
Good,
stressed.
good.
My mother was running to hospital yesterday evening. They think she's had a heart attack. So she's been under observation and blood tests and all that kind of nonsense for quite some time, which is stressful in and of itself, along with running a live show, selling microphones, producing a book, and homeschooling two children. It's a very stressful time for Nathan Oakley currently. But I'm glad you asked. Rhetorical, there it was. I'm going to answer it because we're live now, and I don't want to bore you with it all before in the pre-show because we're having such a lovely discussion about how anti-glober people will be retitled by me from this point forward. So I'm going to coin this term. We've already had anti-flat earther. What's an anti-flat earther? Somebody who stands in opposition to what was formerly known as flat earthing. What's flat earthing? Well, somebody who goes around telling you that you're not on a ball. So you've got anti-ballers and anti-flatties. The roles are reversed and mirrored. That's to say your average ball believer isn't a ball believer because that's a normie. They don't go around expressing their general faith in Earth being a ball. They just get on with their day, often measuring Earth flat as they do so. But your guy in the YouTube arena, like your Simon Dans and your Craig McNeils and your Fugly Dave McKeegans, they're anti-flat earthers. Now, they oppose people who go around saying Earth's not a ball because here's a list of things that are non-positive and I'm going to start proving them. That's what a former flat earther's called. Well, I'm going to call those people anti-ballers because that's really all they are. They're people who are anti-globe. Now, we're just realists in that respect. We just talk about Earth and how it's measured. Like the example of somebody who believes he's on a ball but goes around measuring Earth with a compass or with an elevation angle or with parallel eye level or sea level or surface level or any of the levels that you use when you measure Earth flat. Redundant. That's just how you measure it. Don't need to say it's measured flat. In fact, you don't need to the point where you can believe you're on a ball and have people come along and say they're flat earthers, in quotes, only to tell you how Earth's not a ball because they've gone to the extent of learning heliocentrism inside out and back to front so that they can tell you not to believe in things. And I think that's an outrage. Everybody's entitled to their belief. If you, my audience member, want to believe that you're on a ball, more power to you. Everybody's entitled to that. You're all entitled to believe whatever you like. Who am I to tell you Earth's not a ball? Now, do I know it's measured flat for sure and without a doubt? Yes, I do. No, for sure and without a doubt, Earth is flat because it's measured that way. For everyone, in all circumstances and without exception, even if you want to believe that you're on a ball. So Earth's measured flat, and me saying that doesn't mean I get ascribed a title of anything. It's just me knowing how Earth's measured in all examples and all exceptions, without any exceptions. It's flat. Earth, that is. So my belief in a ball waned the moment I found that out. And yours should too. But you shouldn't stop other people from having their beliefs. You're entitled to believe you're on a ball. I'm not going to stop you. How are you?
Well, good. I hope your mom's doing okay, man. I'm sorry to hear that. Berserker posted that list, and I was just reading it, and it's funny because a lot of it is a feast of nonsense, which I do agree with. They're not good things to talk about if you are trying to, demonstrate how Earth is measured flat and stuff. But there's a couple things on there that are a little wacky. Can I read a few?
Yeah.
All right. Number one, a map is literal world map. Yeah, that's fine. Out of focus stars are anomalous entities, whatever. Parabolic rocket arcs prove a globe. Solar/Polaris elevation angles prove flat Earth. That's number four. So that's the one they don't want us using. Denial of, atmospheric refraction is also something you're not supposed to do if you're a flat earther. So, I mean, stop right there. Those 5 and 4 are ridiculous.
All of this is ridiculous. I don't see how any of this should have any bearing on us. There's one nonsensical statement in there that I would address. If you say a Polaris measurement's a measurement, I don't know how they said it, but not a proof of a flat Earth, it's like, well, it is a flat Earth measurement. Now, again, like I said in the preamble, I don't need to declare that with redundancy. When I take a measurement of surface level as part of an angle, that's just a fact, and a description of that fact isn't something that I necessarily need to lean into as a proof of anything. It's just how Earth gets measured. Flat for the surface level part of the angle that you're measuring Earth as a flat plane to form part of the angle with. That's what it is. Now, you may not like that ipso facto requires Earth be flat, but I don't have to declare, well, that proves Earth's flat. It's just a requirement. It's a prerequisite to form an angle with the surface level. Now, what's that? You don't like the surface level angle measurement to Polaris we call latitude? Oh, well, you don't have to like it. Nobody's asking you to like it. It just is what it is. A measurement of a flat Earth.
Number 26 is interesting. Standard units only work on a flat Earth. So flat Earthers aren't supposed to say that. Like degrees, like angles in degrees and
miles,
horizontal miles. Like
again, so what you're saying is if you're out there using the Ordnance Survey, I'm trying to do too many things, right? If I go on camera now, I just look like I'm a slob, and it's not. It's because I'm doing things. I'm doing eBay things. I'm sorry. If you go out there and you want to use a map, right? You get your compass, and you get your map, and you've got your scale that's flat, and it's got the word miles written on it. You're not allowed to use that, okay? The anti-flatties say no. You're not allowed to describe how flat and linear miles and directionality is. What if I want to go south? No! Because that means Earth's flat. So you can't use south as a horizontal distance. It just is. Don't need to use it and declare that Earth's flat with it. It's just a fact. Don't want to use directionality, then don't say south.
Yeah, but Nathan.
11. All maps are flat, proves flat Earth.
Sorry, that's just again, I love these. These are great. You're picking out the best ones from reality. I'm just never going to get this microphone listed, am I? Oh, well. All maps are flat. I mean, unless they're a bit rumply. You're not allowed to point it out, though, okay? Because when you look at the scale and its horizontal distance measurement utilisation on the flat map, you mean Earth's flat. No, I'm just using a freaking map. Earth is flat. There's a lot of things that point to it when you're talking about measurements, and it seems our anti-flat brethren don't like this, much as you can tell to my amusement. We're not allowed. Really? I'll do whatever the frig I like if I've got a map in front of me and I want to find my way home on the flat Earth that we're measuring with linear miles or kilometres. Or maybe we'll take some angle measurements and we'll figure out our fix with flat Earth surface level angle measurements. I mean, what's that? I can't do that because I'm a flat earther and I won't say that means Earth must be flat. That's just form part of the measurement. It's like a fact that is irrelevant of your liking our non-globe shape. We must measure Earth flat with to achieve things like angles from the surface level or achieve an average for topology elevations and depressions. That's sea level. I mean, you don't have to like these things, but they are just how Earth gets measured, whether you like it or not. You can put them on your little lists, though. Yeah, me, I can piss on those lists. And then laugh in your face. Earth's measured flat, you don't have to like it.
Nathan, if you remember, before you go on, Maxie, you had some people that had a problem with that, too. You could say in miles, you sound like a fundy.
Yeah, so if you're out there using a map and you say to the person next to you, 6 miles, fundy, you're saying Earth's flat.
Yeah, that was the Adam Meakin. It was a show. We used to going at it, and he claimed that you sound like a fundy if you just say miles prove Earth is flat.
Don't have to. It's
Pitch
redundant.
data from flight N773UA proves flat Earth. You're not supposed to say that. I don't know what flight that is, but
It's the
essentially,
flight we
you're
got
not
the
supposed
pitch
to talk
data
about
from.
pitch data.
So when we're talking about, we're not. I don't use that. I didn't even know the flight number. I'm assuming that's the one. It comes from the pitch data. Who cares? I've already said it on one of the previous shows last week. They need the measurement data on paper. Maybe it's gone through an algorithm to get it on paper. I mean, that would be concerning when I'm describing how elevation profiles work, how horizontal line of sight will be, how linear and flat distance measurements are. I mean, who cares? All of these things are used and then noted algorithmically, obviously. You've got to go through a little processing system to get it onto paper so you can read it. But meanwhile, the actual measurements are axiomatically tied directly to Earth being flat. And if it's not, then the measurements don't function. It's just as simple as that. What's that? You don't like the printout that the NTSB use when they're investigating why people might die if people deviate from the flight level that they've been instructed to go to with a flight controller? I haven't got anything in front of me. I literally don't have the pitch data. Like, I'm completely empty-handed. Other than me literally listing microphones. What I mean is I don't need this information to be printed out on a piece of paper to describe just how flat Earth must be measured. If I'm going to come in for a landing, I'm going to plan my descent with a measurement of the horizontal distance and the glide slope. It's a triangle, after all. Now, what's that? You don't like me pointing out that there's a triangle in a glide slope when you come in for a descent to land on the surface that's flat? You don't like that? That makes me a fundy. I'm not a pilot. I'm not doing anything. It's just how it's marked in every single descent that you ever encounter, ever. Because Earth is and can only be measured flat to achieve such a thing. What's that? I'm a fundy? No, just don't like dying on aircraft. I'm sure the pilot feels the same. But you're not going to call him a fundy. That's why they lock the doors, so that you zealots telling people what they can't talk about don't get to the pilots. That's why they lock you out of the cockpit. So he can plan and measure Earth flat to descend and land on it. That's why they lock the doors, to keep you idiots with your lists out the pilot's way when they measure Earth flat. Now, we can check. We can get things like the pitch data from whatever flight, doesn't matter. I don't need to, though. I understand when the guy's on the phone to the plane going, ascend to flight level. That's all I need. I don't need it written down. I mean, maybe you do, so you can put it on a list and tell people not to talk about it, right? Bless. Meanwhile, Earth's measured flat. That's why they lock the cockpits, to keep you nutters away from the pilots, so you don't cause any accidents. If there were, obviously, planes deviate from flight level all the time when they're crashing, and then the NTSB get involved. Again, not muppets in servers with lists telling people what they can't do when they investigate with flat Earth measurements why a plane hit the flat Earth. They just look at the data. I mean, me, I don't need it. I'm not a pilot.
Is that raw data you're looking at?
I mean, probably not. It probably has to go through some sort of algorithm to get it onto the paper, right? I mean, the raw data, we're not looking at gyros. It's a bit of paper. Anyway, fun that this was. Telling people how you can't do this and you can't do that just seems like a bit dictatorial, really. I mean, I wouldn't want to be involved in that sort of server if people are telling you what you can and can't do on lists. Before you know it, you're on a list. Anyway, here, you can do what you like. You want to believe you're on a ball, you be my guest. Everybody's entitled to their belief. That's the attitude of Flat Earth debate. You want to believe that? What's that? You want to tell me I can't describe the flat surface level that forms an angle? Okay, well, then neither can you, and you can't believe in a ball unless you've got those flat Earth measurements to lean into, because that's how Earth got measured for you to believe you're on a ball. But, I mean, I'm all for you believing on a ball, but you're not for me pointing out the flat Earth measurements you required to measure Earth with to put you on a ball for your belief. I'm not allowed to use those. That seems kind of crazy. I think you should check yourself into the local nut house with your lists and your rules and what we can't talk about. Bonkers, that's what that is. You're all nutters.
Next.
Well, we're gonna no housekeeping to do. I'm just looking at microphones. Oh, I bought my drum set. Woohoo! Cheap microphones all day long. I like buying the drum sets because they come with 7 microphones and I can split them up. It's like anything, you know, when you talk about selling, you buy a piece of cloth, you rip it in half, you sell 2 cloths, right? You buy it for $1, you sell each half for $1, you've made $1. I like doing that with drum mics. So they come in a pack of 7 and people just see it as one item. It's not, it's 7 microphones. So somebody just agreed to sell me a really nice set for dirt cheap. Now that's always going to be the case because it's the way I buy. The way to buy is to... It's the rule of 10. It's the same with selling. But in purchasing, it's you go out and ask for 10 things cheap as you can possibly have them. Like insultingly cheap. Now, 9 times out of 10, the seller just wants to slap you. They're like, get lost. It's worth lots more than that. Get lost. How dare I'm insulted. That's the reaction 9 times out of 10. 1 time in 10, they go, yeah, all right. Have it. It's been that 1 time in 10 today with my Samsung drum mic set. Fantastic. 7 mics.
Nice.
I won't tell you what I paid because then no one will buy them from me. If they know I'm doing too well with them. I'm not doing that well. I look at my spreadsheet, right? And I've done, over the weekend, I've bought more mics, obviously. I went over 10 grand. That's purchasing, not turnover, but just purchasing. I've spent £10,000 on microphones. Where am I? I'm still 200 quid or 300 or 200 quid down. I'm still in the red, £292.86. I'm still not making a friggin' profit. But I've got £2,500 worth of stuff in my bedroom. I was going to say in my stock room. It's next to me. I wake up next to this stuff. Anyway, and I'm banking all of it that I can turn it all back into cash between now and Christmas. That I can flog a £2,000 to £2,500 worth of microphones. And over the 12 months, it's not quite 12 months, but let's just call it that. Over the year that I've been buying and selling microphones, I've gone from buying, I kid you not, the cheapest tat for $1 or £1 and turning it into £5 to now, each time I buy something, because I've got half as many items, because obviously they're more expensive, but I'm buying stuff that's like 40 quid and turning it into 100. So it's much more expensive transactionally. But it means I'm sat on 2.5 grand's worth of stock, but it's all pure profit. In other words, this is the point where I'm hovering around 0. That's to say I'm not owed anything from microphones, right? But because I'm hovering around 0 with my 2.5 grand's worth of stock that's sat next to me in my bed, when it sells, it legitimately pays the mortgage. Like it goes into my bank and stays there as profit. Like that mic doesn't owe me a penny. Every penny I get to keep of it. It's not like I've just spent 40 quid and I really need that 40 quid back. It's like everything I've got to sell will turn into pure profit, and therefore I actually keep the money that comes from them. And it's taken a year. Now, if you don't have to do much quick maths to say I'm working on about a 25% margin, right? I've got 2.5 grand's worth of microphones in stock. Now, it doesn't quite work out that way, but I have spent 10 grand to achieve that over the course of a year. Now, obviously, I've sold stuff along the way, a crap ton. I've sold about 300 items, and that churn has resulted in this moment where I'm actually okay to sell stuff and make profit off it and keep the money and pay my mortgage with it. So, I'm from that perspective, I'm in a really good mood. I've reached a really good place, and it's at the right retail time where people are going to start buying my crap. I mean, my fantastic products between now and Christmas. My polished
Sounds
dog
like you're
turds.
juggling, Nathan.
I'm juggling. And there's one more thing that I didn't need last night at whatever it was, 7 p.m, when my sister called and said, it looks like my mum's had a heart attack. My dad recently died. My biggest concern is that when people die and they're married or partnered up, their partner can and often does follow very quickly thereafter. Now, my mum's in good health and she's not as old as my dad, obviously, but her lineage is old people, her parents, that is, my grandparents, that went to 100 plus, both of them. So, like, surely my mother will, but no, she might just die of a broken heart, as much as it's horrible to say now that my father's died. She's starting to show signs of poor health, which is terrible and very upsetting. Along with me juggling writing the book, again, I should do a proper shout out. I'm even going to go on camera to say this right. Thank God I'm not stressed about giving my money to my wife so that she can transcribe my book, because it would be a stretch too far if I was financially in turmoil. I'm not, thanks to my microphones, and I couldn't pay somebody to do it. So at one point I reached out to my mother and said I would like, some money to help getting an editor, Now, my wife has actually taken on that role, but at the time, I'm sure you all are familiar, I had a couple of editors and they decided they wanted to be writers, so I had to sack them. Well, they were working for free, and then I had no book because they also stole it, the bastards. Nevertheless, what I had in lieu of a Word document with all my writing in it was the recordings of all of the sessions that we'd done towards the book. Now, my wife has dutifully been transcribing those recorded sessions, some of them with me playing Fortnite over the top of them, admittedly, rather than the actual text on screen. But nevertheless, she's taken that information and transcribing it, present tense, onto a, let me get it correct, 6th draft of the book. Then we're going to work through that and turn it into a 7th draft, which will hopefully be the end result of a lot of work. Now, I was just discussing this yesterday with my wife, and she was saying, look, any good book has to go through these sorts of processes. Having an interesting story to go along with it at the 5th draft stage, where your editors nick the Word document, just makes it a more tumultuous journey that people will want to investigate when it comes to buying the book. So it's got a good, I don't know if stormid is the right word, I can't think of the right word, but the history that the process of producing this book has had makes it more interesting just as an item. Forget about the text inside it, just as a thing, it becomes more interesting. And as I was discussing with Craig Jr. from Click OK, who's on the panel, I think he is still on the panel, he was saying, you know, you're going to garner a certain amount of sympathy from people who see your plight and go, you know, even if they're not on my side, that's to say the perceived anti-flat earth and anti-globe sides that we just defined earlier. It's like universally people have looked on to what's happened with the 5th draft of my book and gone, bloody hell, that's a bit much. And yeah, it is. Yeah. And it's at a time when you're at your most weak that normally people will try and exploit you, as is the case with me or anybody else. So I don't feel like it's out of the ordinary and wasn't to a certain degree mitigated for in several different ways, both financially with microphones, which is why I've waffled on about them, and indeed with the actual production process of the book itself, which was in itself a mitigation for YouTube censorship, as this channel gets limited audience participation in terms of the delivery of the material in the first instance. So, with all of that being said, I'm, you know, under a lot of pressure, and then your mother ends up having poor health, and you're like, bloody hell, it's all a bit much, it's all a bit on top, and therefore people are getting shouted at in the pre-show, and I'm getting a bit sweary. But you know, you find your language gets more colourful when you're at your weakest as well. You know, it's a poor choice of words when I'm effing and blinding in the pre-show. Hopefully, I can keep it together in the live show so that this is reasonably shareable. But there we go. I don't know why I went on that little waffly rant about everything.
Nathan, when you say you had to sack the editors, does that mean fired?
Yeah, sack means fire.
Oh, no. People are not liking that. Through the grapevine, how dare you say that? They were not hired for you to fire them.
Oh, were they not? Not according to my recordings, they absolutely were. I mean, whether or not offering assistance in the editorial capacity is something they want to admit to as an unemployed person is irrelevant to me. I don't care. In terms of what they were unpaid editors, my staff, and I had to sack them. So who doesn't like that? People on the anti-flat earth side, the globe side, or the people who got sacked?
I'll let you figure that one out for yourself.
I don't really care. I'm asking for the audience because they'll be intrigued. Me, I couldn't care less. Me having to fire people isn't something that I'm unfamiliar with. There was a time in my life when I worked as a recruitment consultant. Do you know what that is?
What was that?
A recruitment consultant is somebody who's essentially the boss of lots of temporary staff. So I was the manager of about 30 to 40 people at any given time, and my role was to take people in, quite literally in some instances, off the street or find them, to fill various roles when people went on holiday and they needed temporary staff to fill a particular role, sometimes for a few days, sometimes for a few months, sometimes for a few years. So I would supply people, and then I'd have to hire, quite literally, that person into a role, and I was their employer. They were always paid by me. I had to pay them, I had a payroll, I had their pay slips, etc., etc. But I was their boss, and I had to hire them and, shockingly, fire them, sack them, as we call it. So yeah, you do the hiring and you do the firing, and that's what you do when you're an employer. And like I say, at one point I had 40 I'm sure there was more. I'm probably at some points there was probably 50 staff underneath me as a recruitment consultant. But that was my ticket to being James Bond. So I wanted to be a rep, right? I wanted to fly all over the world. And I'm not rich, but you don't think rich when you want to do something. I'm not money orientated. It's like, how do I achieve this end? And in that particular example, past tense, because I'm giving it as a story, how do I fly all over the world? Well, you need to be a rep. You need to be an international representative of a company. Then you can fly. That's what part of your expenses will be. Tickets to fly all over the world. Like James Bond. That's what I wanted to do, right? Be a cool, high-flying, James Bond-esque person. Well, to do that, you need to be a rep. So I'm like, how do I be a rep? Well, to be a rep, first thing you need to do is you need to get business-to-business sales experience. So I became a equivalent to business-to-business selling, was selling houses for whatever reason that came under business-to-business, or was considered business-to-consumer, so I could step into business-to-business, which was consulting for staff. That's recruitment consultancy. And that got me into being a business-to-business salesperson, so I could fly all over the world as a representative for an electronics company. So that was my journey to flying. Now, did I have the money to go and buy all those tickets? No, of course not. But that was the steps to do exactly that. Well, along that process was hiring and firing. So when I say I know about hiring and firing, I mean, I had this conversation, I have to talk about them, unfortunately, with Adam not so long ago, because he had to fire one of his staff, just one. Now, unlike me, I was hiring and firing all day. I was brutal. I mean, I was a good boss, in my humble opinion, but I still had to hire and fire a lot of people. Now, I know what it is to hire and fire somebody, so if someone's going to challenge me and say, no, that wasn't a hiring and firing circumstance. Yeah, it was. I know all about hiring and firing people. I've done it a lot. Like a hell of a lot. Like, it wasn't that 40 or 30 generally, 30 to 40 people that I had in my command at any given time when I was a recruitment consultant wasn't the totality of the people that I was hiring and firing. Obviously, they're churning all the time. So there's hundreds, if not thousands, of people that have gone through my hiring and firing process. I know a lot about hiring and firing. The point being, Neil.
I think it's because they proposed and you denied. So how is that firing? Just the way I got it. They're trying to flip it that you're the one that pulled out on the process, which got me very angry.
Pulled out on what? I'm still doing it. What are they babbling about? Are they still editing Nathan Oakley's book? No, they've been fired. Nathan Oakley's me. I'm still doing it. I've just literally given the audience a rendition of how I've got a new editor and how that was the point of all that. Thank you. You're the ones being so generous to put me in a position where I can go, here's money to my wife. Please continue to transcribe the book and continue to turn down your actual employer. It's like, I'm paying her. Now, is that an employee relation? Yes, it is. She's still my wife. Still love her very dearly. I'm very grateful. Like I was grateful to all those people I hired and fired and put into temporary roles. And my former editors. Thieving bastards that they are. They had to be fired. So I fired them.
Yeah, you can absolutely be fired from a voluntary position. My brother got fired from a thrift store when he was doing community service because he kept goofing off and not helping the lady.
Yeah,
she
exactly.
told him not to come anymore.
Exactly. If you go listen to my discussion with 10th Man, when I'm saying, it's a terrible circumstance and life will go on and I won't be dishonest and I'm with God and thank God for all the support, I've had to fire my editors. That was in my little disclaimer that I read out to the public. Day one of them finding out. That's public in a quotation mark because that was originally put out to my members as a members-only video. They were the first to find out on a wider scale. It wasn't. My first approach was Adam and QE. Then he went out to the internal group. Neil were one of the people. Brian and so on. And then it went to a wider group. My patrons. Then it went to a wider group, my members. Then it went to a wider group, the general public. But at the point where I'm telling my patrons and members, they're finding out through members-only videos where I'm reading out my discussion with 10th Man, a slightly more limited group member in that regard, that I've discussed how I will have to fire my editors. Now, if you've been fired, I understand this as well, right? I should have more empathy, like I used to back in the day when I had to fire people who were my temporary staff. If you've been affected by me firing you, I'm really sorry. Get over yourselves. You'll pick yourselves up. Maybe you'll fire and find yourself in another editing gig for somebody interesting. What's that? You think you're writers and you're interesting? What's his name again? Adam what? Merkin? My wife cracks me up right while she's reading it. She says, when I get to your bits, Nathan, I have to transcribe your bits where you're talking. It's really easy. Then I get to Adam and his drunk ramblings in riddles, and it's very difficult to decipher. QE just pipes up occasionally and swears and goes and gets citations. Like, yeah. They were gaslighting me into this belief that they were the ones that were writing my book. That they're right. Yeah, okay, lads. You're not interesting. Yeah? Where's your interesting tales of flat earthing? Now, you've got a load of citations and a load of references, or in the case of the trumped-up secretary known as Adam, you've got a load of drunk ramblings. That's what you've got. But me, I've got concise summaries of flat earth measurements that, make me sound like a fundy? No, I'm just holding a map with a flat scale on it. What, am I a religious believer in flat earth just because I look at the word miles and then ascribe it to this distance on this map that's flat? No, that's just Earth ipso facto being measured flat. See how those words just flow out of me? Yeah, that's the kind of thing that, makes a good book. Not talking about your citations. That's boring. Yeah, you trumped up editors. Good job I fired them.
Wait, I got a question coming in. Oh. Nathan, how much of that book did you really write?
All of it. That's what I'm trying to explain. While my wife... tongue tie my way around this sentence. While my wife is transcribing it, there you go, got it out. She's pointing them out because I can hear how much involvement. I can also hear Brian in the background, the slimy little shitbag, asking about how much I've written in my own book. He's there while I'm dictating it. Maybe I should trim out a little section while I'm on fire talking about gravitational this and gravitational that. And then Brian slopes in and talks and mutters something into a crap mic that you can hardly understand, asking how much of my own book I've written. He was there.
Yeah, that's why when he presented me with that question, I asked him, are you really seriously asking me that question?
If I gave two craps about any of these tosspots, I'd trim out some of these sections. Oh, I already have. I did it, 6 weeks ago? I presented all those clips. Anybody who's watched my shorts clips about the book, and I've got examples of them being described as what they are, editors helping me. I've trimmed it because I've got it all recorded. That was presented to them first. I kept them in one of the groups, my groups, the ones I set up. And I showed them all the clips before they were published, before they went to the wider group either. Adam and QE got all the clips, so they knew the situation prior to me publishing it. And then slowly, incrementally, it escalated out into the public. 6 weeks ago, what? Easy. Now I don't care. Yeah, that Brian was there during the process. I could start, but that's old news now. Boring. We've all seen it. We've all heard it. I've had the sympathy. Thank you so much to my Patreons and PayPal supporters, giving me the ability to give all of that. And I'm sincere. Everything I get through PayPal goes directly to my wife while she's transcribing that book. And I wanted to keep doing it. So I'm very grateful that people have done that. But that's old news. People know all this stuff because I put it all out and got on with it. Moved on in life. Yeah, I'm under a lot of stress and strain, writing a book, doing my microphone sales, running a live show, telling people off for talking through me or on mid-flow. But, life goes on. It makes it a more interesting process. That's what people want when they're buying a thing. They want it to have an interesting story. Just the fact of owning that book will be an interesting event for the person who purchases it, if they've got any idea of the process that went into it, before they've even read a word. Now, there's other people out there that could produce books, but have they got that going for them? No! There's a reason people want to be parasitical to the interesting people of the world, isn't there? Because they're not interesting. So it's good by association if you can get it. Unless you don't and you get fired. Then you don't get it. Trumped up pair of wankers. But yeah.
How's it going anyway?
Good. Good. Chapter 8. Very long chapter. I'm sure you remember doing Gravity and it taking forever. Well, it's the same for my wife. She's like, bloody hell, this is taking a long time. Well, what chapter are you on? She's not Gravity. Ah, right. That makes sense. I'm like, have they actually been useful? Did they get me some useful citations? She's like, oh, yeah. I'm like, because the last thing I want to think is that I've actually wasted my time for the last 12 months, like while I was sat with them gathering up citations, that's all for nothing. She's like, no, there's stuff there. There's lots of them from QE. Like, we don't need them all. We might not use any of them, but it's nice to have them and pick and choose what we, as writers, that's me and my wife in this instance, decide that we're going to put into my book. I mean, obviously you could be some trumped-up editor and start dictating to the author what they're going to do with their book, but then you get told to fuck off, don't you? And then you get excluded from the rest of the group for being a thieving wanker, trying to extort the author that you were offering to help. That's how things go. Past tense. As you are all aware of the audience, and I can easily disseminate to you now without any guff or fluster because it's already been discussed a many time prior.
Well, what was the trig points you put in the other day? I didn't understand what you were talking about.
Oh, Brian was waffling on about trig points years ago. It's just nobody listened to him. Well, maybe being a bit less boring and having a decent mic would have helped, but, you know, Brian didn't manage that, so people weren't really paying attention to Brian talking about trig points. Yeah, so was that guy on the map channel. He's got 100,000 views. People listen to him because he's smug and looks happy while he's sniffing his own farts, talking about how flat he measured Earth. People pay attention to people like that, don't they? That's why we've gone to the people like him with 150,000 subscribers and 500,000 views on a video about trig points. Not Brian while he mumbles down a crap mic that you can't understand.
He
Anyway,
was
like
talking
I say-
about how Earth was measured flat, that guy, that's for sure.
Somebody said that he'd commented and that he was giving a rebuttal Nathan doesn't understand. Oh, wow, that's really original. I don't understand. Oh, thank you, map guy. If only I'd have found you 10 years ago. What's that? I'll write it down. Don't understand. No, I understand English. The English you were using in your words and that. Like when you were telling us how flat you measured Earth. I understood because you're good. Sniffing your own farts with your smug nature about how flat you measured Earth. I understood. You used good words when you measured Earth flat. Yeah, this has been a bit of a reaction channel. Reaction to generally what's going on around Flat Earth debate currently, eh, Neil? Lots of stuff going on. I like that we're getting reactions from the map making channel. Great. Thank you. Oh, somebody purchased something. Happy days. No, it's telling me something's been delivered. Bummer. Well, at least it's got to the customer. Hooray!
So you had to resort to selling microphones because all of us, I say all of us, we all said the book could be better. And it just took way too long. And then at the end, when it was almost time to wrap it up, there was a betrayal. Yeah, that's going to sound really good in a book.
See, even you can concisely summarise it. We've talked about it so much. But this is all past tense, right? Things are moving forward, getting ever closer to Christmas. The time for retail is now.
Oh, yeah. Level Earth Observer gave you a shout out the other day on his video.
Woohoo! Thank you, Level Earth Observer. Go and check him out. Hopefully one of my mods will put a link to your channel in the live stream YouTube chat. And yeah, we'll get some people toddling along to Level Earth Observer's channel, who never gets delivered to me in spite of being me subscribed. I've heard many other flatties, if you want to call us that. Don't know, we'll have to come up with a new name for us personally. Oh, do we? Do we need to be given a title so that we can be suggested to be in a group? That just makes you more exploitable. Anyway, on a different tangent. Thank you, Level Earth Observer. Really appreciate the shout-outs. We'll see. Hopefully someone will stick a link to his channel. What I've been doing recently, Neil, you'll like this just because the connotations from maybe from a slight Christian perspective. I've been selling voice of God microphones. So what I'm talking to you on now, this microphone that you're listening to me on, is a voice of God microphone. A good mic for doing voiceovers. This is what I'm doing now. This is a voiceover. Voice over the top of the video, right? Well, voiceover is, because it's my bit, is the ones I'm most interested in. So the really nice voiceover mics that I've got are all being sold, and they're all at least maybe £100. Say that doesn't sound like very much money. I'm sure people out there are like, "Is that it?" There's like mics for £1,000. Yeah, well, to me they're expensive. They're not cheap $5 crap. But my Voice of God microphones are getting sold, so it's just intriguing to me when I get to put the words "Voice of God" in an advert and say it on a video. Like, this is the Bear Dynamic MC83 Voice of God microphone in my videos. In case you're wondering, if you see my shorts videos as a subscriber and you're like, why are all these microphone videos suddenly in this Flat Earthers channel? Well, as you just found out, I use them to flog the mics on eBay. So if you go to one of my eBay ads, you'll see the second picture is actually a video, and you can play it, and it's me going, this microphone is blah, 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 in, what you see on the shorts video, basically. That's why they're short. So YouTube, and it's not YouTube anymore. They're allowing 3-minute shorts. So it used to be the case that YouTube only allowed you 60 seconds on a shorts video. Now it's 3 minutes, but eBay now only allow you a minute. So to sell your product, you've got a minute to do a video with it. Now, most people just point a camera at the thing and move the camera around a little bit, so it's like glorified photographs. Me, I'm full on 2-camera with the mic, talking into the mic, describing how the mic sounds, what it does, and what its features are. In other words, what my shorts video collection is. If you go to my shorts now, it's all microphone videos, for the most part, like 90% mic videos. That's why. So yeah, Voice of God mics. Got one today. Sennheiser ME66. Beautiful sounding mic, really sensitive.
Well, Robert, we don't know for sure, but it does seem like, I think this is Guns of Navarone. It does seem like Brian has went to the other side. He hasn't been here in weeks. I think he left all the room. So if you put 2 and 2 together, yeah, he lined up with them. And next, how much of the book did Nathan really write? Funny question, isn't it?
I mean, like I say, I've got hours and hours and hours of footage that's being transcribed by my wife. What does crack me up is there's various different sections where someone like Adam is saying, start the recording, because we're going to be making it for someone else to transcribe it, in this case, my publicist. But I'm just recording the whole time.
Yeah, they never they never stuck with the rule. Always assume Nathan is recording. Yeah? You got to remember those things you said. You will give them fair warning. Can't
Yes.
say they got caught by surprise.
Yeah, I've made that disclaimer many a time with anybody who's new. That's what I do. This is what I do. I'm here to record. If I'm sat in front of this computer, yes, I might be playing a game, because I can play a game over the top of what I'm doing, be it live or when I'm recording. I can still chuck a game of Fortnite on. It's a really powerful PC that took 2 years to get working correctly. Well, now it works correctly. I can stick the Simpsons Battle Royale on, aka Fortnite, and it will work. It will function. But that doesn't mean that I'm not going to be broadcasting or not going to be recording. Why else would I be sat in front of this computer? If this computer's not doing recording, it's a TV. And that's it. That's all it's doing. It's either putting out video or taking in video. So this is the only things it does. So if I'm sat here, obviously I'm recording. But that should be bleeding obvious. This is what I do. This is my job. Some people are idiots. Like, maybe if you do something else, like you're a pharmacist or something, you wouldn't appreciate that somebody who's doing recording as their living is going to be recording. Maybe you just don't think about it. I mean, why would you be? I mean, it's not like it's your job or anything. I don't know. Some people are dumb.
Yeah, I understand that Brian's logic is writing a book. Is that right, Neil?
Yeah, he's writing a book. He claims he was writing it before Nathan, which it might be true.
Why did you just admit to that? You should have said, I don't know. Because Brian specifically asked you not to tell an audience that
Doesn't
he's writing a book.
matter.
He doesn't
Doesn't
want the
matter
audience
anymore.
to find out that he's writing a book. Why would you do that?
No. You're wrong, Nathan. He told me it's no problem. He didn't want it to get out, but it got out anyway, months ago. So yeah, he is writing a book.
Okay. I mean, even if somebody's, seemingly betraying you. It doesn't matter. You don't suddenly not stand by all of the things that you've agreed to with that person. That's not how
Yeah, I
how
know.
operate.
That's not why I'm doing it. He said it was okay. So it's
Fine.
going to be a good book because Brian is, he gets a lot of detail. I can't say he's wrong about anything. Brian, when he had his information and was lined up, is ace. It's just he got deceived with this whole thing, but his information is so powerful.
Right, I'm going to do a couple of shout-outs. Shout-out to Arthur, who's on the panel, for joining as a member. Thank you very much. Also, Roger Ledwell. Thank you very much indeed for the super chat. He's gifted memberships. I don't know who he gifted a membership to. Angle of Elevation received it. Thank you very much, both of you. Check out the Uncut and After show. It gets published to members immediately after the recording finishes.
You are welcome, Nathan, but I would like to tell you that I have been a member for 30 months, but there was some problem with my payment, which is why I updated it and it showed it to you.
Ah, fair enough. Thank you. So yeah, anything else that's happened over the weekend that's been exciting? Lists of stuff that we're not allowed to talk about aside? Or maybe we want to get back into that.
Well, just the unfortunate things, like, we only do a show Monday to Friday, right? That's how you run it, which is great. Gives the weekend for family. So, but, guys like us that have been in it for a while, we try to go to different platforms to see what's going on. And it's just, no talk about measurements, no talk about proof. Talk about the globe all you want, argue from that standpoint, and everything is good. Seeing too much of this and not seeing enough of that, refraction, all of that is good. So I don't get what's going on.
Hey guys, I seen something on a bloody Gem Panda thing pops up on YouTube. Not that I'm really interested, but I thought I'd have a quick flick. And there's some guy knocking about called Dr. Shiva or something. Have you heard of him?
We've covered him twice.
He's been Hey?
I think we've covered him twice. Is he the guy with the ponytail?
Yeah, I think is the Asian guy. No, that's
Blitz. Oh, sorry, I'm thinking of Blitz.
No, we did Shiva too.
Yeah.
We did Shiva. Yeah, I was going to say, I'm sure I know that name. Anyway, go ahead.
Anyway, just he's been organising these groups. You might even know the story, but it was just funny because he's organising this story to flat earthers and globers to prove either way which is the Earth flat or a globe by using and adhering to the scientific method. But then there was a clip where Gem Panda was playing it to his panel, and they're introducing the flat earthers, and even the flat earthers are saying, yeah, this is the way we need to go with this now. One way of, getting to the truth is the scientific method, and we're going to put this forward to prove the shape of the Earth once and for all. I'm just like shaking my head.
Wow.
Oh, wow. Yesterday evening, during the dictatorship, that's right, no, dictation, not dictatorship, from my wife, from the transcriptions, right? I'm talking specifically about Spurs chemo. That's the anecdote that's being, talked about during that particular recording. And I'm talking about Spurs wielding a chainsaw, by metaphor, and chopping his own legs off with the scientific method. Like going around and asking people for their independent variable when there's no claim of science yet. Or in this instance, saying that we're going to use the scientific method to prove a concrete noun, the aspect of the surface. You're like, what? Okay, well, that's one way of letting me know that they definitely don't understand the ins and outs of the scientific method, whoever it was that you're referring to.
Yeah, they're in a category area immediately.
Yep.
But no one's picking up that. Obviously, the flat earthers are, coming out with this nonsense, but even the Gem Panda and his panel, no one's picking up on it and saying, but it's nothing to do with the scientific method. We're talking about, geometry, the measurements of the Earth. This doesn't adhere to that. No one's, let's all use the scientific method. It's just hilarious.
Did you say measurements? Like
exactly.
Mathematics?
Yeah. Measurements.
No, see, you said it right. You said they're not talking about the measurements. And that's the problem. Nobody wants to, because that's a game over scenario.
It's literally a forbidden talking point for them. Just like number 23, elevation profile diagrams is flat Earth proof or are not valid. So they don't even know what elevation is.
Wow. Yeah, we've read that list before. I remember reading from it. Yeah, it's a joke. Talk about anything else. Talk about let's prove this with the scientific method once and for all. Yeah, because science proves things, and they want it to be a scientific endeavor, but it's not. It's just about a measurement, and that falls under geometry.
Well, all these big brains from the other server are saying, don't talk about how Earth's measured flat. Let's get the Glober to argue about what causes shadows during eclipses. That's the ticket.
If you think about it, it's like it's pretty sad. After all of these years, this is what's being said.
Yeah, coming up with lists of things that we're not allowed to use in argumentation. It's like, it's not an argument. You either accept that you're measuring the surface level for an angle, or you don't. What's that you don't like? That elevation is directly tied to the surface. Oh, well, then don't use it. What, you don't want me to point out how Earth is flat when you use it? Oh, well. I will be.
And it isn't really. I don't think Neil just said that after all these years, but I don't really think it is after all these years, because even from the very beginning of this movement, right around 2015-16, there has been a resistance towards the use of flat Earth, and that's why we see so many different labels and tags like true earther, real earther, geocentric earther, and all these terminologies have been there since the very beginning, and there has been a resistance to the term flat Earth even before we started asserting it here on FAD that the Earth is measured flat.
I agree, but I'm saying after what, just about 10 years, we're still trapped. Well, what it is now is they're stuck in a hard place.
Yes, well spotted. The hard place being you want to relinquish the measurements. What they don't. They want one step beyond that. They want to be able to still use the measurements to assert that they're on a ball, but without anybody around them saying, hello, yeah, you're going to need a flat surface level for that angle measurement. Get him out. Ban him. We need to use this flat Earth measurement without anybody mentioning that we need a flat Earth for it, because we're going to turn it into a ball right soon after with a calculation. So shut him up, ban him, get him out.
It is funny that the way they do that now, like triangles do the week when he's, but they're blatantly doing it, aren't they? They're showing you the horizontal line, they're showing you the angle, and then just blatantly saying, well, this is how we need to do it. It just doesn't mean it's a globe. We just need to do it horizontally with an angle.
Yes,
and elevation. But
in so doing, it makes their process cognitively expensive, doesn't it? For next man that's listening, that sees the flat Earth elevation angle they use. Like Simon Dan, measuring Earth flat 1,000 times with elevation angles off the surface level. That's the measurement that all of his participants made. What's that? Yes, we're measuring Earth flat. Yes, the surface level for the elevation angle is flat. It's part of the angle and can't be anything other than a flat Earth prerequisite elevation angle measurement. It's what it is by definition. But that's going to get calculated into a globe afterwards. It doesn't mean it's flat when we need it to be flat. That's quite expensive cognitively. It's also got another title, holding two simultaneous things that are in contradiction with one another at the same time. It's called cognitive dissonance. That's what it is. Yeah. For me, just saying, well, it's just a flat Earth measurement. Ban him. Get him out of here. Just pointing out that it's just a flat Earth measurement. That's just outrageous. Unless you're a normie. So there's two groups that can do it. Normies and us. Well, I'm going to make us like normies because cognitively, people want a cheap free ride. They don't want to process much cognitively. So having to process that we measure Earth flat, it's part of the elevation profile, it's part of the elevation angle, it's part of the surface level, it's part of the sea level, it's part of the parallel eye level, it's part of the perpendicular height. But so long as you don't point out that Earth is flat because it's flat afterwards, we don't need to. It just is flat. Earth, that is. For me and the normies.
Thing is, though, like you said it before, they've always done this, but only recently we're noticing they're doing it. Now, we can point it out. But they've probably always done this, like showing you the horizontal lines and mentioned angles, and when describing Al-Biruni and Eratosthenes, they've always done it and demonstrated it. But now we're saying, well, no, that's an angle. That's an elevation angle. That's horizontal. You're talking about sea level, yeah, and altitude, height above it. So we're just like proper all over it now. Well, probably one point we wasn't.
It's funny. Everything you just said is on that list that you're not supposed to say.
Yeah, I mean, go back to the pre-show for my analogy about the best American football player, or in our case, it'd be a rugby player that exists, and he's tiny. He's like this 5'6" whippet, but it doesn't seem to matter what the giant monstrosity of opponent players put up against this little whippet. He pulls their pants down and gets them on the ground. Metaphorically speaking, he brings them down every single time with his tackles. So the opponents say, you know, that guy, the tackles he used, let's ban the style of tackle because he's weak. Look, he's only 5'6". He's weak. So we shouldn't allow him to use his tackle. Very funny, very amusing. Very, I couldn't give a crap. What's that? You think because you've told me on a list that I'm not allowed to say it just means I'll get banned from that server? Oh, all right, okay. So what, in your little dictatorship where you get to use flat Earth measurements and we don't get to point it out, we get banned for pointing it out? Okay, well, that's fine by me. No worries. I'll still be here pointing out, well, it's just an angle off the surface level. It's called an elevation angle. What's that? It's just a horizontal linear flat Earth distance measurement that can only be acquired if Earth's flat. What's that? I'm not allowed to say the final bit about can only be acquired if Earth's flat bit. I'm not allowed to say that. I'm just allowed to measure horizontal linear distances and then apply them to a ball with a calculation that won't ascribe a surface level measurement in a linear fashion to it because it's ball shaped. You want the contradiction in terms without me pointing out the flat Earth measurement. Oh. Yeah, get lost. I'll do whatever the damn well please. You don't like it, you don't have to. I'll still be here pointing out how flat Earth gets measured every single time by everyone and without exception. What's on a list? Oh no, not the list! Oh no, not the list.
The problem I had in there when I had the run-in with AI was I was typically saying to people when they was trying to tell me how Earth curve was measured and they was using the words horizontal, my reply would be, you can't use that word. Horizontal's got nothing to do with measuring Earth curvature. On one particular time, I didn't quite say it correctly. I said horizontal's got nothing to do with curvature. And then somebody jumped in, you know what I mean, saying you can't say that. That horizontal's got nothing to do with curvature because it can have. And giving me examples of a horizontal line with a dingleberry underneath, and you can measure distances from the horizontal underneath the horizontal line down to curvature and work out a drop over a distance. But my point was, it was a slip of the tongue. You know exactly what I was saying of this particular instance. I didn't say you can't use that word when describing how Earth curve is measured. That you know exactly what I was saying. It was just I left a word out or two.
Oh, they love telling you that you're not allowed to use your favourite tackle. I mean, that wouldn't make the game fair for them, would it? If you're tackling them and bringing them down. It's been an emotional day. Anything anybody needs to add? We've come to the end of the hour, Neil. What's up?
I was going to add, I've said this many times, and this time for real, we're all alone here on FED.
No, we're all in each other's company. It's all good. I'm happy. Do you want the West? If the rest of the world knew what we knew, life wouldn't be very interesting, would it, Neil?
No, but as far as the way this topic is going, we're all alone.
I don't know.
Nobody's saying what we say.
We'll have to agree to disagree, as they say. But with that, I'm going to say, if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Primary streams, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, though, if you are watching this live, this is where we bid you farewell. So, another massive thank you to all of you who liked, commented, shared, subscribed, hit me up on PayPal, joined on Patreon or as a member, gifted memberships, all that good stuff. Another massive thank you to today's Discord and G+ panels. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.